Welcome everybody to Mom Street USA. My name is Kate, aka the Disney Cicerone, and joining me as always is Wishes Mama, that is Jackie. And tonight we're going to talk about some no-wait activities in the Disney parks. And that would be things that you don't need to wait in line for, or maybe only wait in a very, very short line for. Both things that are free and things that are paid. So we have a lot of really fun ideas for you because we know summer is coming and that usually does mean some crowds. And anytime school lets out, it's a lot of crowds. So we thought this would be a good topic.
Yeah, and not only that, but we all have kids that don't want to wait.
I don't want to wait.
Regardless, yeah, true. Regardless of what time of year it is, people don't want to wait in lines all day long. I mean, that's the biggest complaint I feel like that I hear about people visiting just theme parks in general in Florida and in California. So we figured we'd come up with some ideas that might help that, or maybe you could intermix them within your waiting for throughout the day.
Yeah, and these are mostly focused on Disney World tonight, but I will throw a few Disneyland ones in the mix too. So if you're a Disneylander, there's some of these activities work at all of the Disney parks, and some are also duplicated in Disneyland. So I'll point those out when we get to those.
Perfect. All right, so I think we're going to start in the parks this evening. So let's talk about some things, and we've kind of got this organized to where we've got like some stuff that you can do in any of the parks, and some stuff that is kind of park specific. So we'll kind of just run through the list and chat a little bit about each of them as we go. As always, we value your input if you are watching us live on TikTok right now. So if you guys have any extra things that we may have forgotten, because this is not a comprehensive list by any means. These are just the ones that we thought about. We had some of our Mom Street community friends that contributed on our Discord. So if you've got other ideas and you're in our chat, put them in there and we will be glad to add them to our episode tonight.
Yes, we always love your guys' input. And I think that we always say, like, it's a village, right? It takes a village to plan a Disney vacation, just like it does to raise children. So
yeah, perfect.
So, yes.
Perfect analogy. So let's hop into kind of an overall things that you can do in all of the parks. One of my favorite ones is the first one we've got on this list, which is hidden Mickey hunting. So this is one that if you're familiar with hidden Mickeys, which are little little Mickey head shapes or sometimes full bodies, you know, they vary, that Imagineers have purposefully hidden throughout the attractions in different areas of the parks. There are several guides out there that you can purchase before you go. There are even apps that you can do, that you can download on your devices, that are good for hidden Mickeys as well. But this is something that I love to do, and this is something that I have done on almost all of my trips, is just look for the hidden Mickeys. So it can be something while you're waiting in line, but I like to do it kind of while we're walking place to place, depending on where we're at in the parks and depending on what hidden Mickeys that I know where they are, or ones that are, I can tell are fairly easy for like my kids to spot as we're walking around.
Yeah, and I have these ones that I'm showing you guys that are hidden Mickeys of Walt Disney World and Disneyland. The Disney World one is by Kevin and Susan Neary, and the Disneyland one is by Bill Scullin, and they just say the hidden Mickeys of Disneyland, the hidden Mickeys of Disney World. Now these editions that I have are outdated, but I think they've made updated editions since then. This is 2016. I was like, oh look, the Great Movie Ride.
Oh.
I know. I was like, oh no, that's not in there anymore.
That's not there.
But yeah, it's everything from like really obvious ones to ones that are actually very, very difficult to find. Like you would not think to look there on your own. So, and I don't really carry these around in the parks per se because they're actually quite heavy. If anything, if I'm traveling with if you have a stroller and you want to toss in a stroller, you could easily do that. If you're carrying all your gear though, sometimes I'll just kind of they separate it out like this is Magic Kingdom Park and Fantasyland. Sometimes I'll just like snap a picture of a couple of these and then we can just look through them as we're waiting in line or whatnot for the attractions or walking from place to place.
Yeah. And the Hidden Mickey one that I've used is the yellow cover one. I think it's Stephen Barrett that has done that one.
Yeah.
I have it on my shelf somewhere upstairs. I forgot to grab it.
I think I own that one, but it's not up here.
Yeah. So that one I know for sure does like little park specific scavenger hunts, which are super fun, where they'll give like clues to where one is. And they also have like the answer guide included. So kind of like what Kate was saying, I will typically like picture right out the scavenger hunt, so it's on my phone. That way I don't have to carry it around, or if I forget to grab it, I still have it if my kids want to do that. And then I also will take a picture of the answer guide because I want to make sure that my kids can find them and that I know where they are so that they don't get frustrated with it. So it's fun to do kind of as a whole family, but my kids have really started to point them out when we see them now, which is fun.
I love that. That's so fun.
Yeah. Kate, do you have a favorite Hidden Mickey?
Yeah, actually, it's one that most people don't know. It's actually not in a Disney park. It's in a Disneyland resort.
Okay.
In California Adventure, in the Grand Californian Hotel, in the lobby, on like the check-in desk, kind of now down near the floor. There's like I think it's an orchestra Mickey that's actually conducting. And it's like embedded in the stone there.
Gosh.
And I never would have found that on my own. That was a wonderful cast member that pointed it out to us when we stayed there. And so that one is definitely one of my favorites. And I also like the one that's on the fountain in downtown Disney, in Disneyland. There's the big flower fountain that a lot of people know that looks like a giant yellow-orange one. And on the right side, on one of the petals, one of the tiny little tiles is also Hidden Mickey. So those are two of my favorites.
I love it. How fun.
How about you?
I really like the one in the Three Caballeros ride at Epcot. Right as you get to the end scene where the animatronics are to your left, if you look to your right in the buildings there is a full-bodied little silhouette Mickey in one of the windows over there. So that one is one that I really like to look for. And that's one that like my oldest has really started to look for too, which makes me really happy.
I love that.
Because he's seen it on like lives or in videos or we've talked about it. The other one that cracks me up, and I'll tell you this story really quick and then we'll keep, because there's a lot to do. That my oldest has watched so many lives and so many videos with me that the Hidden Mickey that is in the ride Soarin', that is the hot air balloons, is there for just like a split second. He has watched our friend Kirk at Walrus Carp ride that so many times, and every time Kirk ride it, he goes, "Hidden Mickey!" Just like shouts it out. So now every time that we see it or every time that we ride the ride, my oldest goes, "Hidden Mickey!" And I'm like, "Shh, it's okay."
I love that.
And it just makes
so
me
cute.
laugh. It just makes me laugh. He gets very excited to find that Hidden Mickey. So,
My kids love the one that is I think it's only in Disneyland's Peter Pan, but on Big Ben in when you're flying over London, there's a little like full-bodied Mickey silhouette on the clock on Big Ben.
Yeah.
And so they always point out that one, which
cute.
is it's not like too hidden, but it is like you have to know to look for it.
Right,
So,
right, absolutely. Love it, love it. Okay, so let's keep going. Like I said, we have a lot to talk about it, and I got sidetracked. Sorry.
That's okay.
So that was talking about Hidden Mickeys. So that is definitely something you can do. And I will just mention that those exist at resorts. They exist at the shopping areas, whether it be downtown Disney or Disney Springs. They exist in parks, obviously. So lots of places around that you can look for Hidden Mickeys at while you're enjoying some of the magic.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that is next on our list that you can do almost anywhere in the Disney area is pin trading, which I actually did for the first time like the couple trips ago, and I was
Fun.
which I'd never done before. And I don't know how much I'll do it because I'm someone who likes to collect more than like trade. So I'd have to be trading something I really don't want. But that's hard because you trade it for something you really do want, and then I just can't. I have a hard time. But yeah, pin trading is free if you already own a pin. If you've already but maybe you can give a few more details about that because I think you're a little more versed in it than I am.
I'm actually not. I haven't done a ton of pin trading. I've just witnessed it and like looked at it. But yeah, basically, I mean, you can purchase pins across the parks if you are someone who wants to get started. You can purchase pins online. You just have to be leery of the fact that there are a lot of fraudulent pins that are out there, companies that fake them and try to sell them to make a profit. So it gets a little tricky with that. But if you're looking for pins that you know for sure are true Disney pins, buying them in the parks is your way to go. And then in various locations all around, you will see pin boards that typically cast members have the pin boards out and displayed, and you can just go up. They typically do a 2-pin trade limit for your transaction, but you just go up and it's just a 1-for-1 trade, and you take your pins and you go on your merry way.
Yeah, and I'm getting some comments about being careful about buying authentic pins online. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Especially if you buy those big bulk ones on eBay and things. A lot of the time they are not real authentic ones, and they get really good at creating ones that look a lot like authentic ones, to the backs of it and stuff. So yeah, and you can tell if you're collecting. I'm trying to remember exactly how I can tell. I know it's like if it's a bit more raised, isn't that raised is the fake ones? If it's more like rough.
I believe that is correct.
I feel like we've heard this
Don't
enough.
Quote
we should
us
know by
on
now.
That.
Hopefully Kirk's not listening, because he would be like, you guys fail.
You should know this.
Sometimes you can just tell because they look weird. They look a little bit off, and you're like, this is not it.
But I know it has a lot to do with, the kind of the way that it feels when you touch it and the backs of it too. Kirk says, I will hold my comments.
No.
So yes, do your research. Long story short, if you're going to buy them online, do your research. If you are just starting, I highly suggest you buy them in the parks or from like Shop Disney online, somewhere like that you know for sure is going to give you authentic pins. So
yeah, Christina's saying the border is raised on the back for the fakes. That's what I thought. So
okay, see,
if the border is raised on the back, that's.
And if you want to know more about how to tell if a pin is real or not, ask Kirk at Walrus Carp.
And if you see a pin board that is behind a register or something, you can usually ask them politely and say, like, do you mind if I look at the pin board? And they'll bring it over for you. So it's not just because it's behind a counter doesn't mean that it's not accessible. You might just have to wait until they have a moment to bring it over to you. So,
Yep. And cash registers are good places to look. Also, basically anywhere that sells pins typically is going to have a pin board to trade. Not always, but it just really depends.
Yep, absolutely.
Kirk says there are a million ways to check and not all of them are correct. I would just say collect what you like and don't worry about the authentic. So that's a good way to put it as well.
Fair enough. But if you're trying to buy, if you're buying them, try to buy ones that are real if possible, just so you're not trading fake ones. That's kind of a bummer. So
Yes. So speaking of kind of collecting, as Kate was talking about earlier, another fun no-wait activity that you can do is sticker collecting. And that's just, there are cast members all across property that will, that have stickers on hand. Some do, some don't. So just asking cast members, hey, do you have any stickers on hand? Or a lot of the times if you've got kiddos you're traveling with, they'll just offer them up to you. But collecting different kinds of stickers is super fun and something that you don't have to wait around to do. You can just do whenever the moment arises. And if you followed our friend Kirk at Walrus Carp, you've seen recently he has been very into the sticker collection. There are tons and tons of different stickers that the cast members have all across property. So it's a really fun thing that you can do with your kids.
I'm trying to find one. I'm like rifling. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm rifling through my drawer because I have so many random Disney things. I'm like, there has to be one in here.
But yeah, so it's just a fun thing that you can do as you're walking by cast members, if you're looking around in shops or different things. And it's something fun that your kids can take home with them and either decorate something with their stickers or put them in a keepsake book or, kind of whatever they want to do with them. But it's just a fun way that they can have a little memory from their trip.
I don't have any. I do have a paper Disneyland ticket. I've got some coasters. I have a happy birthday Minnie and Mickey button, an old Disneyland map. I think this is a Disney World ticket. I've got a Jolly Roger Fortune Red. I've got a lot of things, but I don't have any stickers up here.
No
I
stickers.
think they're all downstairs, so sorry.
Oh, yes. Bree says, I heard character attendants have good stickers. That is true. Yes. So those are some free things that you can do across all of the parks.
Allie says everyone has a random Disney inspired junk drawer. I feel like that's true. This is mine. It's the little drawer in my desk. So here we
Yeah,
are.
mine would be in my bedside table,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom drawer. I have lots of old paper fast passes and maps and,
Because like you don't want to get rid of them, you know. It's
No.
like some of them I just jam into this corner up here. So I have like my like keys to the kingdom pin that we got.
Yeah.
I should probably put that on something. I need a pin board.
Yes, you do. I love
Anyway,
it.
sorry.
Anyway,
It's on a rabbit trail here.
so let's talk about a couple things that you can pay to not wait to do if you are in the parks. And being a rather expensive paid experience, and that would be a VIP tour. So those are something that they offer, and that can drastically cut down on any waiting that you have to do. If you're someone that is your importance and you've got the funds to do so. VIP tours start at $450 an hour and go all the way up to $900 an hour, depending on what you're doing, how many people, lots of stipulations with that. So that is something that you do have the ability to do if you so choose.
Yeah, and those VIP tour guides are also pretty knowledgeable. The majority of them are what we call, plaids. They're people who have passed a lot of Disney history tests and things like that, and they can give you a lot of information about the parks and park history and whatnot. So it's a nice perk to get to chat with somebody who's really kind of in the know about Disney history if you don't know that. But also just skipping lines for things. And then I feel like they also do things like push your stroller and stuff like that, right?
I believe, yes, get food for you, those types of things. They're kind of like your own personal helper, guide, all of the above for your day if you choose.
Christina says the VIP just gets you Lightning Lane in Florida. So you don't get to totally skip the line, but you do get to bypass most of it. So
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like a dash pass, yeah.
Yes, so that is something that you can opt to do if you so choose. Again, like I said, $450 to $900 an hour, depending. Lemuel is saying over here that they can do basically everything, and he doesn't believe that it just gives you lightning lanes. You can get backstaged too, depending on the efficiency. So it may depend on availability, it may depend on the attraction, lots of things dependent on that. But either way, it will drastically cut down on your wait time, regardless of which avenue you get on the attraction.
Yeah. I mean, it's to help you not wait as long. That was the point. But I have seen plaids carrying Starbucks coffee, like they did a Starbucks coffee run and stuff for people too. I feel like they'll do a lot of things to just make your experience as easy as possible.
Yeah.
And really, it's the VIP experience. So that's why the
exactly.
cost is so high.
Exactly. Yep. Pretty much. So another paid option that you can do across the various locations across the parks and also resorts as well is character dining. So if you're someone that really wants to meet characters, but you don't want to wait in the lines to meet the characters, doing a character dining experience is a fantastic way to do that. There are tons of different characters that meet all across property, depending on who you want to meet and what meal you want to have. Some meet breakfast, lunch, dinner. Some meet just a certain part of the day. It just depends on where you're going and what you're looking at. But there are lots of different character dining options for you if that's something that you're interested in.
And I want to say, if you are in Disneyland and you want to meet characters without a wait, or just see them rather without a wait, just hang out in Fantasyland starting around 11 a.m. I walked through Fantasyland and I ran into probably 5 to 6 different characters I was just trying to walk through Fantasyland. They just kept coming. And I was like, okay, I saw the genie, I saw Aladdin, I saw Jasmine, I saw Mary Poppins, I saw Bert. I was just they were just everywhere. And a lot of the times they'll get on the carousel and ride, so you can just kind of keep an eye on the carousel and you'll see characters that way. It's not exactly the same as a meet and greet because you'll not necessarily be able to stop them for all the things. But if you just want to see the characters and you don't need to necessarily get all the autographs and stuff, sometimes they'll stop and take pictures. Or usually when they're walking through Fantasyland, they'll probably take a little kid's hand and walk with them, which is really That's a really great place. Allie says, or in Walt Disney World, just Kate and Peter Pan will find. Yeah, Peter Pan will find me anyway. Yeah, I don't know. But explain that a little bit. When I was with Lem, Magic Pants and Trash Cans, and we were doing some content shooting, and Peter Pan just kept finding me specifically everywhere I was, like Liberty Square. Like, why is Peter Pan in Liberty Square? He just kept showing up, and it was like, it was starting to get creepy to the point where I was like hiding from Peter Pan. Like as we walked, I was like, no.
And then you ran from him the morning that we were in Magic Kingdom.
I did run.
It was like duck and cover.
I was like, I don't know why he just kept following me. Nothing against Peter Pan. It was just very interesting. I've never had that experience where a character almost like stalked me before. So
unintentionally, anyway. It was not just by happenstance.
No, he was like, while we were filming, he was, I guess, standing behind me. I know
he was like in the back of your shots, right?
He was like 30 seconds standing behind me, and I didn't even know. And then I turned around, and he like terrified. I was like, "Oh, you're there? Okay." And then he asked me what my favorite game was, and I panicked and I said Scrabble, which is not my favorite game. And he's like, "Is that a spelling game?" Anyway, it was fun times. So the characters are out and about too in Disney World to an extent, but not as much as Disneyland.
Yes, and especially if you're looking for that autograph, that photo, those types of things, doing those character dining experiences, like we were saying, is something that would be in your benefit. They are all across property. They're at resorts. They are in the parks. So just take a look at what is available to you.
Sorry. They're like the most Kate of board games. Scrabble. It's accurate. Sorry. Ooh.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Back on the collecting wagon here for a moment before we jump over to a different park. But one other thing that we wanted to mention that is something you would pay for that is a no-wait activity is collecting the pressed pennies. So all across property, there are tons of pressed penny machines. And that's something that you can find. And they, a lot of the times, are very specific to the area that you find the machine in. But they are fun little souvenirs that you can take, and they've got little books you can display them in. Again, another just fun keepsake for your kiddos to take home from your trip if you choose to do that.
Yeah, it was really fun. We got a whole bunch of the ones from Splash Mountain before they closed it. We were waiting in line to get pennies from Splash Mountain. I think that's
which is not the norm.
No.
Because we're talking about no wait activities.
That was
Kate.
when it was closing, though. I mean, that was why I had a line. But it never has a line, like ever.
Right.
Like maybe one person is making a pressed penny and you got to wait for a minute. But you're right. It doesn't have a wait.
And I will note that those of you that are familiar with pressed pennies, I've seen this question asked a lot, so I'll just really briefly mention that I would say 95% of the machines that are pressed penny machines now do accept credit cards. So gone are the days of needing your whole giant tube of quarters and pennies to take with you to the machines. There are a select few that still do require change. But like I said, about 95% do accept credit cards now. So just keep that in mind if that's something you're planning on doing on your next trip.
I feel like some of them are automated where they kind of do all the pressing itself, and some of them you actually still have to crank it. So I think the cranking ones are more fun personally, but they do take a little
more interactive. Yes. Especially if you've got a kiddo that needs to exert some energy while
let's make some pressed pennies.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So again, pennies all over property. They can be parks, they can be at resorts. So lots of different places you can find those. There are tons of guides, by the way, to pin trading locations and pressed penny locations online. If you just do a quick Google search and kind of take a look at several different options, there are tons of guides to those that exist and are available. So definitely check those out if that's something you want to do on your next trip.
Yeah. So lots of options for collecting and not waiting while you're collecting.
I like it.
I feel like we didn't put this in there, but I feel like with like shopping, I'm just going to mention like shopping is obviously a no wait activity. And sometimes that's really fun too, to just go shopping when it's really hot out too. So yeah. And then you can buy all more things to collect, like our ears and our spirit jerseys.
Exactly. It's perfect. It's a good time. It'll cost you, but it's a good time. Yes. And you don't have to wait to look at merchandise. So it's good.
Well, you can window shop.
That's true.
You just have to have a lot of self-control.
Restraint. As we just got done talking about before we started the show, all of our ears and everything else.
We're not good at restraint, but we advocate for it.
You can do it.
We believe in you. Not so much us, but we believe in you.
It's so true. All right, shall we hop over to Hollywood Studios?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so one of the first things that we talked about as far as no wait activities at the parks is bounty hunting at Galaxy's Edge, which is a newer activity that they introduced when the Magic Band Plus came out. It is an interactive game that you can do over in Galaxy's Edge, where you scan your Magic Band between your Magic Band and the Play Disney app.
Does that have to be Magic Band Plus, or is it?
It has to be Magic Band Plus.
So not
yes.
this one. But that's the only one.
Has to be the interactive one that lights up. Because it will utilize the lights on your Magic Band to help you find your bounty. Basically, it equates to a giant game of hot and cold. As you get closer to the bounty that you're hunting, your band will react differently and will go green. As you get farther away, it reacts differently and turns red. So it's like a giant game of hot and cold. And then when you have found it, it reacts differently, and then you pull up your app and can scan for it. But it is a super
just
fun...
like real bounty hunting, right? That's what happens.
Something like that.
That's how it works, right?
Something like that. But basically, then you find the bounty using your phone, and then you return back to where you initially scanned to receive your credit reward for your bounty. And yes, Allie Beth made a good point over here to make sure your Magic Band Plus is charged. It will not function unless you have charge on your Magic Band Plus. So make sure that you are charged. But that is a super fun thing that you can do. And I believe there's up to like 20 different bounties that you can hunt for. And each one, depending on if you're being adult-led or child-led, can take anywhere from 5 to 50 minutes, depending on what you're looking for.
I love how you phrase that.
It's
like
you.
cooking, you know, because when you cook by yourself, you can make it in 5 minutes. You cook with your child, might take a little bit longer.
Yep.
It's fine.
Exactly. But my kiddos and I tried this out. What trip was that? Back in October, I think. And we had a ton of fun. I will say it's easier with the Magic Band Plus to do the bounty hunting in the evening when it has started to get darker outside, because you can see the lights better. If you do it in the middle of the day when it's super sunny outside, it can be kind of hard to see the lights on your Magic Band without it. So keep that in mind. If that's something that you're wanting to do, it may be better to wait until the evening, or just be prepared to find shady spots to try and make sure you're going the correct direction.
There's
for
not
your
a lot
bounty.
of shade there either in Batu, so it's just nicer in general to wait to the evening or early morning if it's like what you want to do first thing. But I probably wouldn't advocate for it being the first thing you do.
I would say like after dinner, before you're waiting for maybe like Phantasmic or something like that, it would be a really good activity to do in that moment, because by then the majority of the people that you're traveling with are probably done waiting, and it's not something you have to wait to do. Now, there can occasionally be a very short line at the initial tap point, because there's like a little video that goes with it to show you what to do and to show you who you're looking for and that type of thing. So there can occasionally be 3, 4, 5 people in line, but it goes very quickly. So overall, I would consider it a no-wait activity.
Yeah, that's fun. I haven't tried it yet. I've just heard a lot of things about it. It's just never been on the top of my list. But you can do that. That's another one you can do in Disneyland, because they also have Batu. And now they've got Magic Band Plus there. So you can do it in Disneyland. You can do it in Disney World and Hollywood Studios. So both places.
Yeah.
So next up in Hollywood Studios, I was brainstorming some things. I know Jackie had a lot of things on here that were fabulous that are maybe for younger kids would enjoy. I was like, how about maybe those of us with older kids or even into the tweens and teens? Like, what are some no-wait activities they might also enjoy? And my family is a huge fan of the new Mickey Mouse cartoons. They're just obsessed. So
I love them.
One thing that's in Hollywood Studios that I feel like everybody just kind of misses is the Mickey and Minnie Vacation Fun short. that's unique. It's kind of a compilation of a lot of other shorts, to be honest. Like if you've seen them all, you'll recognize some pieces from it. But they do have some clips that are new, and it's specifically for Hollywood studios. It's just a little Mickey Mouse theater. You go in, there's never a wait for it ever. So it's a great place to go in and get some AC and sit down for a couple minutes. And then at the exit, I think is the most fun part, because they have little like dioramas set up, little photo spots with scenes from the Mickey Mouse cartoon. So they've got like Potato Land, and they've got
Potato Land.
and they've got, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember, Yodelberg and a couple other ones. So you can actually take some really fun photos with your family. And I've never had a wait in there. There's almost never anybody in there. So really fun place to just grab some photos and also sit down, have a break for a few minutes, and no wait. So that is located, if you walk past the Hyperion Theater where Frozen is, and you're headed like around the corner towards Star Tours, it's kind of on the right-hand side. You'll see a little theater there.
Yes, as you're walking that way. Also, like, think about Indiana Jones is off to your left. It would be to the right there. So in that area. Nice. And then the other, do you want to talk about the next one too?
Yeah, so this is my favorite thing to do.
That's why I was like, I'm going to let Kate take this one.
I spend hours in here, but so there's a place called One Man's Dream exhibit, and also has a like a Monsters Inc. meet and greet in it too, which is bizarre.
I think it's now the live action Little Mermaid meet and greet, because they reopened that Pixar area where it used to be the entrance to like Toy Story Mania before Toy Story Land became a thing. They reopened that, and that's where they moved the Monsters Inc. meet and greet, because Frozone and Edna Mode and all them are down there now. So now it is.
That's right. I did see that.
It is the live action new Little Mermaid meet and greet, I believe.
I mean, not that that necessarily makes sense, but I guess with it makes a little more sense. I don't know. It was very strange having the Monsters Inc. one in there. Anyway, what One Man's Dream is an exhibit that is essentially a tribute to Walt, but more Imagineering also. So it's kind of like Walt Disney's history laid out in some pieces of Imagineering and animation. So they actually have real pieces of Disney history in there. So don't miss this exhibit, especially if you love Disney history. It would be super boring for little children. But for older kids, it might be interesting. I'd say, it depends on your child and what they're into. My kids would probably find it interesting because I talk about Disney history all the time. But they have like original model from Main Street USA, and they have a replica model with the wrong year on it for Sleeping Beauty Castle. Don't get me started on that. They've got the Jungle Cruise model. The models are actually very interesting to see. They have stuff from the Mouseketeers. They've got an Oscar that if you get too close to the case, it will set off an alarm.
Don't ask Kate how she knows that.
And they also have some really cool educational things, like the multiplane camera. They have a demonstration of how that works and how they use it in animation. So I find it a very fun place to go. It's air conditioned. There's not a ton of people in there usually. Definitely no wait. And they do have a little movie about Walt Disney at the end that you can choose to see or not see depending on your schedule and how much time you want to spend there. So
yeah, I will say my 6-year-old would probably love like the models and the camera and like that kind of stuff that's in there. My 4-year-old would not have any desire to go in there. So like Kate said, it really depends on your kiddo and their interests and their age as to whether or not that's a place you want to visit, or you know.
It would be a good place if you're traveling with grandparents, like that might, because a lot of the stuff they might be nostalgic about, especially the Mouse Club, Mickey Mouse Club memorabilia, things like that. They also have models for Cinderella Castle and Epcot and a couple other places. So it's a very interesting place to visit if you're at all interested in Disney history or want to learn a little bit more about it. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Or for a kid in a nap in a stroller. Hope that's a really great one, because then you have things to look at. It's fairly quiet in there, and it's air conditioned, and you can stroll on through. So that's a good thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. If my kiddo fell asleep and I was in Hollywood Studios, that's probably where I would go.
Yeah, it's a good one. So
the other one that I will mention that I just thought of that is not on our list, like we said before, this is not a comprehensive list, but another place that would be a no-wait activity would be if you're interested in Star Wars. At Hollywood Studios, they also have the launch bay, which is not located near Galaxy's Edge. It's actually on the complete opposite
Or Star
side.
Tours.
It is the complete opposite side of the park, over off of the main kind of Chinese Theater Plaza area by the Disney Junior Dance Party. There are there's lots of Star Wars props and all sorts of things in there. I don't even know what all is in there. It's been a little bit since I've been in there, but that would be another type of place where you could go and walk through, again, depending on your traveling party that you are with and the ages of kiddos and interests. But that would be another option that you have, is just like a walkthrough area that you would not have to wait to go in.
Yeah, and it's so funny that it's like in Disneyland too. They put Star Wars Launch Bay where Carousel Progress and America Sings used to be. They like put it in that building. It's like the thing they just plug in wherever they have an empty space.
Yes, and I don't understand it because so that used to be the whole animation area at Hollywood Studios where they would have live animators drawing. They would show the previews for the new movies that were coming. They had the drawing class there. They had character meet and greets in there. And then they closed all of that. And I'm fairly certain that very close together, they announced Galaxy's Edge and put Launch Bay over on that side of the park, like within a couple years of each other.
So weird.
Make it make sense. Because you will also find in there waiting attractions, but they're character meet and greets. So Chewbacca meets in there, BB-8 meets in there, Darth Vader meets in there, I believe.
Sometimes they have lower weights though because people don't even know it's there. So.
Yes, they do on occasion. So that would be a character meet that you could possibly do with little to no weight. But it doesn't make sense.
No,
why
I'm
it's
with you.
so far removed from everything.
It's bizarre. It's such
At least
all
make
that
it
area
near Star
is so.
Tours because I
Yeah.
get the whole like Star Tours is supposed to be like a movie set. That's why it's not in Galaxy's Edge. Right. Understood. But why do we have polar opposite sides of the park?
They just needed to put something in there because it was empty. I mean, they did have things over there.
Why did they take out the? It was.
Well, and then
so
there's the
much
whole
fun.
Craziness with the Little Mermaid theater and like it's that whole area. Like I think Lem from Magic Bags and Trash Cans like just bulldoze the whole thing, put something else in there. I'm like, I am 100% on board with that, except for One Man Stream. We can move that, but it has to stay.
It's far enough down the line. It can stay where it is. It's okay. It's okay.
But everything else, imagine we could put all kinds of things in there for Hollywood Studios.
I will say that for the little kids that you travel with, the Disney Junior Dance Party is a ton of fun.
It is.
So we need a Disney Junior space for the kids, I think, still. So if we need to relocate that somewhere else to make this all happen, I'm for it. But
well, there's lots of places in the park they could put that. The park is so tiny. Like they could expand it. They could do all kinds of things.
Yes.
Come on.
Okay.
Disney.
Anyway, we are just like all these different stories tonight. It's okay. It's okay. We're good. We're good. So that, in a nutshell, are a couple different places that you can visit in Hollywood Studios where you can have something to do that is not going to make you wait in a line, or if it does, it's going to be a very, very short line. So let's see, where are we headed next? Epcot.
Yeah. So I added this one to it because I actually got to do this with a friend of mine and their kids last time I was in Disney World, and it's the KidCot Fun Stops. So I'd never done this with my own kids, but I've seen the process. It's actually really fun. They give them their first stop, they get like a little Ziploc bag with little like kind of fake handles on it to collect all their things to. And not every country, but a lot of the countries, they have stops that look like, oh, that's got to reload now. They look like this. You look for this, and then they'll give you a little card usually, or a little piece of paper, or you can color things on it. You can give more information about the country. You can talk to somebody who's a representative from that country. So you can ask them questions, or they can answer questions about the country that they're in. So it's very educational, but the coloring made it really fun. And they also have pin trading at those stations too. So if you want to pin trade, you can.
And I believe they do stickers as well.
Stickers,
correct.
Yes. And if you get all of the ones that are all around the world, you get like a big kind of postcard that says basically you completed it, right?
That's
so
cool.
They have it in Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy, American Adventure, Japan, Morocco, France, United Kingdom, and Canada. So pretty much like almost all the places, right? So there is a list here that we can include in the show notes that links back to where they are all at, because sometimes they're a little bit difficult to find. And so there it is on Disney's website. You can see the locations and the exact the Cape Cod stops are. And
That's
sometimes
helpful.
they even have something like Japan. They were making little like origami Disney animals and stuff,
Oh,
and they
how
gave those to the
cute.
kids. So there's some things that they can also collect from some of the countries if the cast members are working on something. So I think it's a really fun cultural experience for the kids, and it also helps that walk around the world, which can be
Yeah.
tough for
Yeah.
the littles.
Yeah, Kirk exactly just said, great way to keep kids engaged while the adults enjoy some food and sips around the world. That's exactly
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So Sarah asks, is it something a 3.5-year-old can do or more for older kids?
I think a 3.5-year-old, if they like coloring, they recommend 3 to 10-ish is the recommended age. So I think my 10-year-old probably would be okay with it because collecting things, and she'd probably enjoy it. But I don't know, probably not above that at all. Like definitely not tweens. It's definitely more kid. And it is open for the majority of the park day, but sometimes they can close early, like 6 or 7. Sometimes they'll close down if there's not a lot of people around, or if it's not crowded that day. So if you're really interested in doing this, maybe head for like the morning hours are a great time to walk around the world anyway, because it's cooler out before the sun starts to roast you. So I would recommend doing it in the morning-ish time. That would be better than in the evening or afternoon. So
Yeah, and I will say also, I believe if you are using the My Disney Experience app, if you use the search function and type in KidCot, I believe it will populate on the map so that way you can see where it's at in the app itself. So
yeah. And Hope says talking to the reps might be cool for teens, maybe asking them in every country the same question. So if you're
Very
traveling,
true.
if you have a lot of kids that are various ages and you have littlers that are going to it, you can that's a great idea for the teens. Thank you, Hope. Like a favorite food or breakfast to country, and then write them down, and then maybe Google it later or while you're walking around the world. So
Yeah.
that's a fun idea, especially to keep the teens engaged if you have littles that are with you and you need to do both. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes you have to compromise.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so a couple other options that you have. I'm going to skip the next one and hop ahead really quick because we were talking about walking
Sure.
around World Showcase. One of the other things that Disney has available using their apps is the DuckTales Adventure. So this is something that you can do at any point wherever you are. It is, I will say it's new because the DuckTales part of it has come back. But it is, if you are familiar with previously, they had the Kim Possible version and the Phineas and Ferb version. The same idea goes with that, but it is basically using the Play Disney app. You load it and you select which country you want to start in, and it sends you on these little missions. And each country, I believe, has a couple different missions, so it has a little bit of a replayability
a
factor.
while.
Yeah, and it can be very time consuming if it's something
Yeah.
that you're interested in doing. But it's super fun because the countries themselves become interactive. Things happen, you push things on your phone that trigger things to go off. So it's a
Or like
super
open
fun
or like animate. Yeah.
so much fun, so much fun. So it's a really great way to experience World Showcase, similar in the fashion to those KidCots. So like Hope was saying, maybe if you've got older kids and they don't have any interest in the KidCot stations or the different country, send them to do DuckTales in the country that you're in while you're doing KidCot, and you can kind of divide and conquer while still being in the same area. But super, super fun activity that Disney offers that is free, and you will never have to wait. And the nice thing is you can put it in time. So it's something that you have to do every single country to finish. Each country kind of has its own little standalone mission, so to speak, with them that you would be able to do. And if you've got younger kiddos, as long as they've got an older kiddo or an adult with them to help navigate and listen for the clues to make sure you guys know where you're going, they would be very successful at it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun thing to do, especially like if you're waiting for somebody on a ride, or if you're, some people are having a snack or drinking something and you just like, they want to park it for a few minutes, but your kid's getting antsy. This is a really great way to entertain them while you're waiting, and then also interact with the countries and things that are around you. So, yeah.
Yeah,
for
absolutely. Sure. It's super fun. I miss the Phineas and Ferb one, but I'm also very partial to Phineas and Ferb because that's like my absolute favorite.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring it back someday. They're like relaunching that, aren't they?
So they are. I'm so excited. I may have gotten way too emotional when they announced that they were doing a new season of Phineas and Ferb, and immediately messaged our friend Ginge, who is also a massive Phineas and Ferb fan, and was like fangirling really hard about it. So I'm excited. I stalk Dan Povenmire's. I don't stalk. That's not the right word. I follow very closely Dan Povenmire's TikTok account and he just posted not that long ago that they're like in the writing phase of the new season, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited.
I just saw him post about like being in Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. I was like, oh my gosh, he was in the parks.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think he lives like West Coast somewhere, or out that direction. Yeah, I think he was in
probably
Disneyland.
But yeah.
Yes. So I'm excited. And even if they don't, I also love DuckTales, and I will mention also it is the newer like animation and newer storylines and newer characters from DuckTales. So think like what was that, late 2010s reboot that they did. The characters you're going to see, a lot of them are the same, just differently animated from the original.
Yeah, and that makes sense because that's what the kids are familiar with. Like my kids they don't recognize the original DuckTales song. They only sing like the new version of it. I was like,
my kids know both.
I'm mad. I'm like, no, that's
my husband has made sure that my kids know both.
I needed to start listening to it in the car. Then they captive audience. They can.
Yes. That's what I do. I just put it on our playlist and then we just play it. Kate, Lisa G has a question. Does Disneyland have anything similar to that experience?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Not that I can think of. There's not enough places that where kids would get bored, like, so they don't have that nope. Not that I think of. There is there's the Disney Play app though that does have a lot of activities for when you're waiting in queues. Mm-hmm. So Disneyland does have its fair share of things you can do on the Disney Play app that will kind of have activities where you can look around at things, but not necessarily like that. No.
Yeah. And it's such a different space because Disneyland doesn't have anywhere like Epcot that would kind of lend itself to something like that. So a little bit different there.
Yeah. Nope.
All right. So another location, I'll hop back up now because I think we're still going to be kind of all over the parks here. Another location that is a no-wait activity is trying the different beverages at Club Cool.
That's cool.
So if you're not familiar, Club Cool is located kind of in the more front section. So don't think we were in World Showcase, come back to the front of the park. It is, I believe it's in that walkway between Connections and Creations, if I'm not mistaken, off to the one side. And it is a location where you can try different Coca-Cola products from across the world. And it is completely free. They give you little tasting cups and you can just go up and try whatever one you choose.
Yeah, they have the Beverly. It's from Italy. I won't go into like the details, but like they have one from Madagascar. They have a Country Club Meringue from Dominican Republic. They've got a lychee, like apple one from Korea, which I think is like the most kid friendly of most of them. There's like a watermelon from the Philippines. A sour plum from China that everybody says tastes like barbecue sauce. A cucumber Sprite from Russia, which I actually really like. It's very refreshing.
So good. That's what everyone in the chat over here is talking about, the Sprite.
Yeah, same here. Maria's saying it. And then Viva Raspberry from Moldova, which I actually really like that one too. So everybody says that there's kind of a debate about like the Beverly's the worst one. I would make an argument that the sour plum is not, to American standards, this is to American taste palette is a little bit odd. But there is very interesting, and I think it's fun, kind of multicultural activity to do with your kids and show them that like everybody around the world has different taste palettes. The way that we experience food is different depending on what culture we live in. So
Yeah.
if they didn't get enough of that from around the world, at least we can get it from soda. So
Or maybe this is like the precursor to visiting around the world
Yes.
as you work your way through the park.
it's like, here we are. We're prepping for our
Yeah.
adventure. Yes.
Kirk says the sour plum one tastes like Rome is burning.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's gross. Whatever it is. To my
It's
standards,
just gross.
just for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. I am not adventurous enough to try more than the ones that sound good to me. So
You haven't tried all of them?
maybe when I was like younger, I don't recall trying all of them. I know I've had Beverly, I've had the cucumber Sprite, I've had the watermelon one. I'd have to look and see. So I haven't tried all of them, but I've tried maybe half.
Okay. So next time Jackie's in Epcot,
I'm
she
not
gets
that
to
adventurous,
try all of them.
Kate. I'm not that
You're
adventurous.
getting less adventurous as you get older. Is that what you're saying?
I have never really been adventurous when it comes to foods and drinks.
Fair.
I am
Okay.
a very picky person, so it's just one of those things where I look at it and I go, I know I'm not going to like that, so why am I going to subject myself to it? I've tried the Beverly, okay? I mean, that's like the main one that
That's
everyone's
fair.
like, oh, you got to try it.
But did you try the sour plum? Because now that's like the new Beverly.
I haven't recently. Like I said, I may
Okay.
have tried it previously and I just don't recall it, but I haven't tried it on a recent trip.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. We won't force you into anything.
Yeah.
But
Allie Beth said, my first time at Club Cool in April and my only option was the Beverly. So there was several weeks in
Ugh.
April and into May that Beverly was the only one they had in stock.
was it like an April Fool's joke?
That's what I thought, but it went on for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And it was sad. They were just like out of stock of everything. And the only one open was the Beverly.
Oh man. Mentally blocked the Beverly.
Month-long April Fool's joke, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So
it's
yes.
fun.
Anyway, back to what we were discussing. It is a no wait. It can get busy in there, so sometimes you have to kind of maneuver in and out of people to
It can
get
be
to
a
the actual machines.
little wait, maybe.
And I will say that area is not super stroller friendly, especially if there's several people inside, because it is kind of like a little Coca-Cola merchandise store as well. And I did see somewhere not that long ago that they just started serving like different flavored slushies in there as well, like some
Okay.
different unique flavors. So if that looks like something you'd be interested in, that was something that I believe like just within the last week or so, they started doing like, what was it? Like banana flavored, like Fanta, like, so it's all still based on like, in like Coca-Cola products, but, I know Kirk and I were talking about it because I sent it to him and it was like, oh, that's interesting. So if that's something that interests you, maybe pop your head in there and check that out as well while you're in there sampling all of the different beverages.
Yeah, I agree. The old Club Cool had way more space. And I do think there are some different flavors than the old version of Club Cool. I think they updated them throughout the years. So I'd have to look exactly which ones are updated. But the Beverly feels like it's been around forever because that's what we've all talked about for years.
Right.
So.
Yes, exactly. So kind of hopping back to World Showcase here momentarily for this next one. And this is something that we have talked about when we've done the different festivals at Epcot and the different kind of seasonal stuff at Epcot, is they do offer scavenger hunts. And those would be completely no wait activities other than just to wait at the register to purchase the scavenger hunt. So this is a paid activity that you would do at Epcot. The scavenger hunts are typically $9.99, but if you've got like an annual pass holder discount, DVC discount, they do accept those for that. There is usually there's some sort of a prize at the end after you finish that scavenger hunt. So a lot of you that listen to Mom Street are probably very familiar with the idea of those scavenger hunts, but if you're not, they are basically you purchase a cardboard map and a sticker sheet, and you have to go around searching for different things. So during Flower and Garden, it has been, what is it, Spike the Bee?
Yes. And
For that.
art festival was all of the like figures, like painted figures on things. Murals.
They've done Figment scavenger hunts. They do an Easter egg one during Easter time where they have character Easter eggs hidden all over. Some of the scavenger hunts are just World Showcase based, and some of them are whole park based. So take a look at that if that's something you're interested in. Typically the holiday themed ones are World Showcase specific. So like the Easter egg hunt, they do a pumpkin one at Halloween time for that. But then the ones that are more festival based tend to be more full park. So you'll find things kind of outside of World Showcase as well. But either way, it'll run you $9.99 to be able to go search. You can also just search without, like if your kids don't really care about the little sticker thing, you can, once it comes out, you will find a ton of articles reporting about where the locations are for everything. So that can just be something that you do as you're walking around World Showcase as well. Maybe in between the kid cot stations and the DuckTales.
There's plenty to do for kids
There's
around
plenty
Epcot,
to do.
for sure.
Yes. And all of those, like we said, are no-wait activities. So those are super, super fun ones.
And you don't have to finish the scavenger hunt to get your prize. A lot of people think like, well, we didn't finish it all, so we don't get it. No, you paid for your prize. Just go claim it. Whatever you got done.
Yeah.
Or just stick your stickers on your thing. Nobody's going to know.
Right. And I will say most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time, if you ask the cast member when you purchase your scavenger hunt, they will also let you claim your prize at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Most
that's
of the
fair.
time.
Like, what if you were only going to walk halfway around the world and then hop on the Skyliner or something, you know? Like,
Right.
they don't want to make you have to walk all the way back there.
Yes. And I will say that you can pick those scavenger hunts up typically at Creations at Port of Entry, which is the shop right by the Skyliner, and also at, I think it's called World Traveler, which is the little shops right inside World Showcase when you first enter, and to the right, kind of. So those are kind of your locations for those if that's something that you want to do.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we've got the exit of Figment, which is called ImageWorks. So that is all those kind of play areas that are at the end of Figment. You can do lots of things, like kids can run around and make different sounds on things they step on. You can create your own Figment and email it to yourself. You can do some other things with music and whatnot. Maybe, I don't know if I haven't spent a lot of time in there beyond those things. Is there more that I'm missing?
They've got like a wall that's like a big piano. They've got, a space where you can kind of conduct the Figment and it makes different sounds. So lots of really interactive music-based things that happen in there. And I will mention that we get there from riding Figment. You don't have to ride Figment to go into that area. So if you just go in through the exit gift shop and walk right in, and you walk through the little shop area, and then that whole space is available for you and your kiddos to enjoy.
Yeah, and I would also mention, I don't think we have this on the list, but the little jumping fountains and interactive fountains that are up the staircase around the edge of Figment is also kind of a no-wait activity, if you will. That I think those kids find those fountains extremely fun. And that was actually going to be part of an Imagination Pavilion Gardens that was originally planned for Epcot, that they never actually finished the project. They just kind of like, well, we'll just do these fountains instead. And just a little fun fact for you, those fountains were designed by the same creator that made the ones that were for the Bellagio. So their inspiration was imagination. So they like to create fountains that were specifically for whatever location they're creating them for. They want them to be unique to that location. So they made those, the up fountain, the jumping fountain, and the leaping fountain, and the little like ones that hop. They're all ones that spark imagination. Like, how did they do that? How are they doing that? So
yeah, very cool. And if you're up in that area, Bree mentioned this, and I also thought of that as well. The area that is directly next to Figment as you go up that area typically has really, really low times for the character meet and greets that are in there as well. So there's a Mickey and a Minnie meet and greet, I think, both in there that are both super low wait. And they also have the Pixar shorts in there as well, similar to the Mickey cartoons that we were talking about at Hollywood Studios. Typically little to no wait for those Pixar shorts up there as well. So another location kind of all in that same area. If you're looking for a couple things you can do back to back to back, because you've got kiddos that need that, that space in Epcot is a really good space for you to be able to go to.
Yes, for sure. Do you want to talk about the playground at Epcot?
Yeah, so there is, I feel like there used to be more playgrounds in Epcot, but the only one that I know of, and I think this is the one you mean at Mission Space, is the one kind of between.
I didn't write that. You did.
I did write that. And as I was making notes from people that are talking on the Discord, the one that I'm thinking of is, Mission Space, like test track area as you go towards.
It's like on the other side of Creations.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like right outside of there. There is a playground. It's typically themed for whatever the festival is that's going on. And it's typically got some little, like, Epcot is all about the educational little sprinkles all through everything. So it's typically got, some little things on there that are themed for that. That's a fun little play area. We've used that with my kids when we were waiting for the festival booth right there to open when it was Brunch Cot last year for Flower and Garden. It was like right before they opened, and we just needed something that we didn't want to wait in a queue. We didn't want to drag them through the store. It was like, playground, perfect. Okay, let's go play for 10 minutes while we wait for this to open. So that's a really, really nice location that you can take your kiddos.
And it's great to give your kids a little bit of freedom to roam a little bit, because there are some places in Epcot where they can kind of run around, but like not always. Sometimes they're in a stroller, they're waiting in a line, so to give them a little bit of freedom to just be a kid for a few minutes, I think is really critical sometimes on these long Disney days where they're stuck in places and they can't have freedom.
Yeah. And I will say the one thing that I love about that location in particular is the way that they have it set up. There is really only one in and out. So it's not an open space playground that your kids can just run away from if they see something that distracts them. It's got walls, or it's got like shrubberies or flowers kind of around it that would stop them. So I felt very at ease as a parent in a very large, busy theme park, letting my kid be in there without me like stalking them around the playground. So I appreciated the way that they set that up with that. So you have to kind of go down and around to get in and out. So I liked that a lot about that particular area.
Yeah, that's what I always liked about the Boneyard in Hollywood Studios, that there's only one in and out. And so they could just when my kids were older, I just let them go, and then we've eventually caught them and brought them back to us.
Eventually they came back. Yes,
Indeed.
exactly. So that is one space that you can do. If you're sensing a theme, let's talk about another exit area that you can spend some time in without waiting, and that's Project Tomorrow, which is the exit of Spaceship Earth. So again, another kind of interactive area that you can enjoy. Got lots of little stations kind of all around that you can interact with. Think about Spaceship Earth. It's all kind of based around that. So that area, when you come out and you see the big map where they placed everyone who just rode, there's lots of stuff in that area that you can interact with without having to wait.
Yeah, that's really fun. And the same thing with the exit of Nemo and Friends, one of your favorite spaces, which is, of course, the aquarium. And they do have lots of educational things there. It's not just like watching the fish and stuff, but there's all kinds of little exhibits and things you can look at there.
Yeah, there's a sticker scavenger hunt book type thing of some sort that if you find it, I've never done it, but I've seen it before. But if you find a cast member, they can direct you to that. They do like educational talks and shows with the dolphins and with the manatees. At least they used to. I know they have done it with the dolphins, but just a really fun space that you can go and hang out. And again, typically you would get there through the exit of Nemo, but you can also just walk in without riding the attraction as well. I do recommend the attraction though, just saying, it's a good one. Not that any of them are not, but same with all of these, Figment, Spaceship Earth. I know. So good. So good. Anyway, so yes, that is another area that I personally spend a lot of time in whenever I go to Epcot.
That's where you can find Jackie, not in Club Cool drinking all the things, but she will be in the aquarium, hanging out, not drinking all the things.
No, that would be concerning.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, hanging out with my manatee friends in there. Yes, that will be where you will find me.
That's where I will be too.
Yeah, so a couple other things that kind of go hand in hand with the aquarium areas. They do have a couple different tours that you can pay to do. That would be no wait activities that you could do. One of them being with the dolphins that are in that location, and it's called Dolphins in Depth. And it is like a fully immersive in the water tour with the dolphins that they have there. That will run you $199 per person. So again, this is a paid option of a no-wait activity if that's something you're interested in. They also do over in the coral reef area of Epcot, they do the Dive Quest tour, which is again a fully immersive in the water tour with all of the sea life, and that will cost you $219 per person. So both of those are available as no wait activities. They don't have a ton of information on the websites other than just call to book. So if you've got questions about that, I would take a look or even just call and ask, because I'm positive they've got
the Dive Quest one,
age requirements, and
you have
and
to
that
have
type
dive
of thing.
certification, I think, to do the dive one. So if you have your dive certification, I'm pretty sure you can do the Dive Quest tour. But if you don't, then you can't.
Yes, so if that's something that you're interested in as one of your no-wait activities on an upcoming trip, definitely give them a call. It's easy enough to search it on the website, and then they give you a phone number that you can call right from there. Yeah, you have to be scuba certified for that one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So definitely look into that if that's something you want to do.
So I know that we have a lot of things left, and so why don't we'll try to move right along here.
We'll speed it up a little.
Speed it up. We could talk forever about every single one of these. But you mentioned the wave pools at the water parks. If we're hopping over to the water parks now, that's just a great place where you don't have to wait in line to go. I'm assuming go down a slide. I haven't been to the water parks, so I was like,
I haven't either, but I've done some research on them. So yes, a lot of them have slides or different attractions you can do. The wave pool is not something that you have to wait on. It's a big enough space that they can accommodate everybody.
Yeah. So then hopping over to Magic Kingdom, we have the Keys to the Kingdom tour, which is a paid experience. And this one you would want to book 60 days out in order to, it does fill up pretty quickly. And I feel like they're mostly in the morning-ish because it's a 5-hour tour. So most of the start times are in the morning, and it does include lunch. It's $114. I have gotten to go on it because of a good friend of mine that allowed us to go. So I got to go on the Keys of Kingdom. They usually go on 2 attractions without a wait. So we did the Haunted Mansion and a Jungle Cruise. And on the Haunted Mansion or the Jungle Cruise one, instead of getting the skipper spiel, they'll actually tell you like secrets of the ride, essentially.
So cool.
Yeah. And they do a fair amount of walking, and they try to keep you out of the sun as much as possible, but you will be standing in areas for a while, so just be aware of that. Probably not, I think there is even an age requirement for it, but I can't remember what it is, but it's not for little kids.
Yeah, I feel like 10 and up, possibly. Yeah. Something in that range. So again, and all of these, we're kind of, like Kate said, mentioning them. We don't have all of the details for all of them because that would just take way too long. We are already taking long enough. So if that's something that you've got more questions about, send us a message, or, take a look at the Disney website. They've got a lot of information there. If you can't find it, send us a message. We'll be happy to help you with that. So another no wait or low wait activity is on Main Street in Magic Kingdom. They do offer silhouette portraits at a little kiosk that is across from the Emporium, kind of in between the two, kind of where the building has that break. What is the name of that street, Kate? I know you've talked about it.
Center Street.
Center Street. Is it East Center Street?
Yeah, it's East Center Street, because West Center Street doesn't really exist anymore. This is also my mother.
Oh,
this is my mother in the 80s, and then the one that I have hanging on my wall is me when I was like 2 at Disneyland.
I love that. So they offer them at Disneyland as well. At Disney World, you can find them on Main Street, and there's also a kiosk at Disney Springs that will do them. So that is a paid no wait or low wait. Occasionally you may have to wait if someone else is finishing up before you.
Did you say it was in Liberty Square? Because it's in Liberty Square. It's also in Liberty Square.
Do they have it at Liberty Square? When I looked online, it didn't say that, but
okay,
well, I could be wrong.
At least last time I was there, I saw them physically
They had them
doing
at Liberty
it.
Square.
Yeah, I saw them cutting them in Liberty Square.
Okay,
kind of like
so
the
there's
entrance
to
it.
A third location.
Yeah,
there you go.
But you can get. They're actually really fun. It was a tradition for our family. So we have ones. I think my mom has ones with like all of our family together in a line, which is really sweet.
How cute.
But she gave me these ones.
Yeah,
so.
I saw someone not that long ago on TikTok that posted that they got their dogs' silhouettes done, which I thought was so cute.
That's really fun.
I know. So any fur baby parents out there, if you want to get your dog's silhouette done,
yeah,
there you go. Yeah. So also nearby the Main Street location of that, if you go right inside the shop, kind of right across the street, or not across the street, across the little side alleyway, you can watch the glass blowing presentation at the Arribas Brothers area, which they do it kind of, they take like a 15-20 minute break and then they do another one. So you do kind of have to time it right if you want completely no wait, but they usually have a little sign up or a little clock up that'll tell you when they're coming back to do their next one. But that's a really cool thing that you can watch them do the glass blowing that you see like in the shop right around you. So that's a super fun little thing that you can hang out and watch.
Yeah, and they're happy to answer questions and stuff about it too. It's a very, very educational experience. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
Something that I put on here because it's something I love to do is go to Tom Sawyer Island. This is a good one at Disneyland also, as well as the Magic Kingdom. And you might have to wait just long enough for your raft to kind of like come get you to go over to it. But once you're on the island, you just pretty much go wherever you want on it and you explore. And it's a lot quieter over there, especially some of the sounds do carry over the water from the rest of the park, but it's a good place to get away from a lot of crowds and a lot of noise. And it definitely doesn't have any wait over there. And along those same lines is, actually, this does have a wait in Magic Kingdom sometimes, which is really funny, but Swiss Family Treehouse, only on slow park days, will not have a wait. And I think it's funny because I don't think I've ever seen a wait in Disneyland's one. I actually don't even think there's a waiting area queue for it when it was open. It's closed right now, but like you literally would just like walk right up the stairs into it because there was never a wait.
Yeah. So occasionally you will find that there is a 5 or 10 or 15 minute wait for Swiss Family Treehouse at Magic Kingdom on really, really busy park days.
Which is scary.
But since it is a continuous walkthrough, that line does move fairly quickly. So very minimal wait if you're interested in doing.
People are just walking right through it. They're just climbing and then going back down. They don't, but there is some really nice views from the top too. If you can linger, it's hard to linger if there's people behind you because it's awkward to have them go around you. So I like going on slow days. That's my preference. So moving right along, we have one that's good also in Disneyland and Disney World. Disneyland will be the Mark Twain or the Columbia sailing ship. And at Disney World, it is the Liberty Bell. And this is the big stern wheeler that you see that goes around the rivers of America. And I feel like this is so underrated. It's going to be a little bit boring for small children sometimes. My kids liked it though because they looked at the ducks. That was their thing. They watched the Disney ducks, and also you can watch the canoes. You know, you go by in Disneyland, you go by the canoes. You don't in Disney World anymore. And there's things to spot. There's animals, and there's things in Disneyland. There's a beaver that's like gnawing away the bottom of the railroad bridge, so that's really fun for kids. And it is a way to get away from the crowds for a little bit. It's usually not terribly crowded unless it's extremely busy in the parks, and you will only have to wait long enough for the boat to come around. And it's a slower boat in Disney World than it is in Disneyland. It's 1.6 knots in Disney World, and it's 2.2 knots in Disneyland. So it comes more often in Disneyland. And also on busy park days, in the middle of the day, they'll have the Columbia sailing ship alternating with the Mark Twain. So you won't have to wait very long at all for those. And they have a capacity that's around, gosh, I think sailing ship is around 300 and it's 500 for the stern wheeler. So that's why you don't really have much of a wait.
Yeah. And I would say at Disney World, if you can hear the boat, but it's sailing away, come back in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Go do some shopping, go do some the Frontierland arcade. That's, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead there, but that's a really good no wait activity both in Disneyland and Disney World. Disneyland, I'm pretty sure you have to pay for it now, but Disney World I think is still free.
As far as I know, it's free at Disney World.
Yeah, but I think I had to pay last time I was at Disneyland. I was like,
sad. And Kate has also created some scavenger hunts that are no wait activities that you and your family can do in the parks.
Yeah, there's a couple pages of it. It's a PDF, but you can download it onto your phone for free. This is just in my Mr. Lincoln bio. You can go and get what I have one for Magic Kingdom and I have one for Disneyland, and they give you a little bit of details, historic details behind it. But there's also just kind of the big ones for the kids that they can check off too. So this one I think for Magic Kingdom has 20 items to find. And I think it's similar for the Disneyland one. I haven't looked at it in a little while, to be honest, but it is free. It's in my link in Mr. Lincoln bio there for you. And you guys can, just as a little gift to you, as a thank you for hanging out with us. So
yeah,
you can
very
get
cool.
those scavenger hunts. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Kate. That's super helpful. So another no wait or little to wait activity would be catching one of the character cavalcades. Now, these are at different times throughout the day. They do follow the same route that the Festival of the Fantasy Parade follows. So they start over by what is to be Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and they kind of travel to the hub and down Main Street. So if that's something you're interested in, check your app for the show times for that, and just realize that the show time is when it starts at the beginning. So if you're waiting on Main Street, you may have a longer. We're talking about no wait activity, so give it a couple minutes. But typically it's not something that people are going to line up for, like Festival of Fantasy, where people have to sit and wait around. The cavalcades happen more frequently, so you can typically catch them with very, very little wait. You don't have to scope out a spot ahead of time, and they have at least 2 different cavalcades that are running currently that I know of. One is the Mickey and Friends Cavalcade, and one is the Adventure Friends Cavalcade. So again, those times will be in your app for that day.
Yeah, Disneyland has their own unique ones as well. I don't remember what they are right now because I haven't paid attention.
So check your app.
Looking at something historic somewhere else in the park. But yes, they do have their own cavalcades. And Disneyland, I will say, you can just sit down, find a bench. There's a lot of benches in the hub in Disneyland, just a ton. And you can find a nice shady bench, sit down, and you will see, not only will you see all the Main Street vehicles go by, you will see the horses go by for the trolley, you will see characters go by, like Cruella likes to hang out in the fire engine a lot and she'll roll down the street. You got the Dapper Dans that come by. There's a lot of activity on Main Street. I sat there for like 10 minutes and I caught all kinds of characters, all kinds of music. I had the Disneyland band go by. So if you just want like no wait, free entertainment that walks by you, just park it on Main Street for a little while. Get some ice cream, get some popcorn, and just sit down and take a break and watch the world go by. It's really fun.
And you can do that a little bit at Disney World, but not quite to the extent that Disneyland
sit down though.
There's not a ton of places to sit unless you're on the curb, and it's a little less. Quite a bit less shaded actually than Disneyland, but you may still catch the Main Street vehicles, the Dapper Dans, those types of things. They do also have the that you can catch from afar or close, depending on what you're choosing to do with that as well. So different options if you're looking for kind of those Main Street vibes, that you can just kind of hang out in time to catch a lot of those different things that they have to offer.
Yes.
And then the last thing that we have in Magic Kingdom, this one again is better for a no wait activity on slow park days, and that is attempting to pull the sword from the stone, which is a super fun thing to do. It can have a really long line, so if it does just come back another time. Chances are that some point throughout the day you're going to walk by and go, oh, no one's over there. Let's go. Or like, oh, there's only 2 people. Let's go over and check it out. So
Yeah,
that's a
don't
fun
wait in
activity.
a giant line for
No.
it because it
No.
kind of ebbs and flows. Like
Yes,
how
very
many people
much.
are there.
Thanks, Vic. Very much. So if you're there and you see that there's like 20 people in line, come back later.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Yes, let's head to Animal
yeah.
Kingdom.
Yeah, continuing our no wait Disney activities at Animal Kingdom. A lot of it mostly is walking. So there's walking trails at Animal Kingdom. You have the Gorilla Falls Trail and the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Both are ones that you might have to like shuffle around people to see something for a little bit, but there really is no waiting for those. I also mentioned identifying some plants in Pandora is a really fun activity, maybe for older kids than younger kids. I know they also have those like drums that you can kind of pound on in Pandora as well. So that would be fun for the littlers. But there are some things to discover in Pandora in terms of like the plant life. And it is really fun too in the evening as it goes into night to see how they light up differently. So not necessarily the most exciting thing. Like I'm not sure my kids would be like, let's go identify plants in Pandora.
Woo!
But it is available as an activity if you want to do that. So
Yeah. And Animal Kingdom does also offer several paid experiences that would be no wait experiences. Again, this is just a general rundown. If you want more information about these, check out the website. But they offer the Wild Africa Trek, which is, I know that one for sure includes like a ride on more of like an open air safari vehicle. That one will run you $199 per person. They have the Caring for Giants tour, which is the behind the scenes with the elephants. So you get kind of to be up close and personal and hear about them. And that is $35 per person. They have a Savor the Savannah night where they do kind of like a, that one is more like food and drink based with the animals kind of. And that one runs you anywhere.
Sounds like you're drinking with the animals.
I mean, maybe from a very far distance.
Like they dress the chimps up in some tuxedos and you all have a toast.
To the animals.
To the animals. The elephants with their trunks, they have a little toast, they join in. The giraffes are too busy eating their leaves with their prehensile tongues.
Can't be bothered.
They can't
But that one will run you, I don't know why this price is so odd off the Disney website, but $147.90 through $174. That was the price range that they gave on the website. So do with that what you will.
Why? Why?
Right? I don't know. Maybe it's like
I'm
like non-alcoholic option versus alcoholic option. That's just what they have. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Round it up.
It's 10 cents.
So
anyway, and then the other one that they have to offer is an up close with the rhinos tour experience, which will run you $45 per person. So it's 4 different guided tours with no wait activities if you're looking to kind of get some more insider information about the animals at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. And I think that is all the ones that are inside the parks. We do have some other activities that are outside the parks, but we have talked about these before on a previous episode. What was it, like things to do outside of Disney,
yes.
I think is what we said.
Yes.
So we have an entire episode of on our Mom Street USA podcast of things that you can do outside the parks, and we really go into depth in that episode about them. So maybe we'll just breeze through this section just to give you guys a few ideas.
Yep. So outside the parks, we've talked about miniature golf. So a couple different options you have for miniature golf that would be no wait activities. Disney Springs has quite a few. If you're looking for a paid experience, they've got a movie theater there. So if you're looking for maybe a really hot, rainy afternoon, you want to get inside for a couple hours and there's a movie playing you want to go check out, you can check out the AMC movie theater there. They also have bowling available at Splitsville at Disney Springs. So those 2 options would be good inside options. And you're going to find general prices for those, kind of like what you would see at your hometown movie theater or bowling alley. And then free of charge, Disney Springs, especially in the evenings, always has tons of live performances. So you can pretty much walk around to any of the little stage locations and find something going on that you can just stop and hang out and check for a few minutes or longer.
Yeah. There's always something going on in Disney Springs. There's always, and even in the Christmas time, they have like the Christmas tree hunts and things like that too. So there's lots of various things that you can do that are definitely no waits over there in Disney Springs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then resorts, like Kate said, we've talked about a lot of this before, especially when we did all of our resort episodes. So some of this is kind of just reminders to those of you who have been with us, and like check out all three places are available. Resort hopping is a really great no-wait activity. If you're looking for just different things to look at and experience, that can be a really good one to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can go visit the animals that are outside and see them in the little people pens. You can go out. And then Fort Wilderness, we also talked about a lot of activities there, some of which are paid and some of which are not. There's archery lessons and carriage rides that are paid activities, but you can also just visit the horses, which is free. And then one of my favorites is listening to the pianist in the Grand Floridian. I love doing that. So just enjoying the vibes and hanging out in that lobby is wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. So a ton of other things at resorts that you can do that would be no-wait activities. So I'm just going to list a couple here. They've got Surrey bike and regular bike rentals that you can do, fishing excursions that you can book. They've got spas that you can book times at, arcades that you can play in. All of those would be paid activities. But again, you're going to either be able to walk right up and do it, or you're going to have a time booked ahead of time that will mean that you're not going to have to wait in a big long line to experience that activity. And then also swimming, obviously, at your resort. Make sure you're a resort guest of the pool that you're choosing to swim in. We don't advocate just going to a resort, any resort, and taking a dip in their pool. But at your resort that you're staying in, just going swimming, and also just experiencing the other just general activities that they have. Tons of different things going on at your resorts. I always suggest asking at concierge or checking out. They usually have like big signs or things like that that kind of show the schedule for the week, but they've got outdoor movies, they've got games and trivia at the pools. There's a lot of the resorts have like s'mores or marshmallow roasting. Sometimes you'll even see characters that pop up. So it really just depends on what's going on and that type of thing. But all of those types of activities, if you're a resort guest and you're staying at that resort, are available for you and included with your purchase of the resort.
Yes, and there's so much to do. You could just do a staycation like at the resort and not even go to the parks, and you would have a fun vacation because there's so much to do there. We already talked about at the top of this episode, we talked about Hidden Mickey scavenger hunts. And those are also outside the parks, not just in the parks, they're outside as well. So you can look in your resort, like we mentioned before, and check out where some Hidden Mickeys are.
Yeah. And then there are also different seasonal tours. I say tours in quotations because these are just things that you can go and experience and walk around without having to pay. So they do Easter eggs. Whenever it's Easter time, you can find the Easter eggs at a lot of the monorail resorts especially. So looking at those, but they're kind of all scattered across property now. I feel like it's slowly growing out to more and more resorts. Same with Christmas trees. All of the resorts at Christmas time will have some sort of a Christmas display or Christmas tree in their lobby. So that can be a really fun thing to do if you're hopping around from resort to resort. And then also same with like going to do the gingerbread houses and kind of experiencing all of the treats that are seasonal around Christmas time as well. So lots of different things going on at the resorts, depending on what time of the year you visit.
Hey, Jackie, I have a question from Hope. She's asking if we have a good app for Hidden Mickeys. Do you know the name of one offhand?
I don't, because the last 10, probably 5, 7, 8 years ago that I looked, it was not a great app. At that time, I I'll be honest, I haven't really looked into it much past that. If anyone in our chat has one that they like, let us know. If not, we can do some looking and see if we can find any to post on our Discord channel. So if you're not on our Discord, check out Mr. Link in bio to join that Pocket Fam Walrus Carp Discord. We do have a Mom Street channel on there where we post tons of information. So if we find one, I will post it there. So I'll take a look here in the next couple days and see if I can find anything for you.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so you did seasonal tours, and then we have ride transportation methods, which we did talk about on that previous episode, that can just be no wait activity. Sometimes they're a little bit of wait, like Skyliner, you might have to wait a little bit to get on, or a lot if it's the end of the night. But
it just depends on when you go and how many people for the monorail and the Skyliner both.
Yes.
Just depends.
But going on the monorail, going on the Skyliner are kind of, and the ferry too, like a lot of the boats, resort boats, there's a lot of transportation that can feel like a ride, and it's not, it can be very, very fun, especially for kids that are not used to those types of transportation, which, unless you've got a monorail in your tent, unless you're living in Seattle, I think that's the only other one that's operating in the US, and you take it often, which nobody lives in Seattle does, so would still be really fun. So
yeah, and I highly suggest, if you are someone staying on like the monorail loop or the Skyliner route, like doing that resort hopping is so accessible to you. Like Kate said, we mentioned this in our previous episodes, but I just want to say again, like if you're staying at Pop Century or Art of Animation, the Riviera or Caribbean Beach, any of those, or in the boardwalk area, you've got access to tons of spaces just by using that Skyliner. The monorail is a little more limited, but between monorails and boats around Magic Kingdom, you've got access to a lot of different places. Using those transportation is like one of the most fun things that I think you can do without having to wait in a huge long line.
I agree. It's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we hit everything, because our list at the bottom, we already touched on things that you can do in both places we mentioned earlier. So again, this was not a comprehensive end all be all every single thing you can do without waiting list. These are just some highlights that we came up with. I know Abby mentioned in here a couple other things at Animal Kingdom. The petting zoo and the drawing experiences at Rafiki's Planet Watch are also available in Animal Kingdom. Some of those you may have to wait. So I did think about the drawing class, but it can have a wait. So it just really depends. Again, some of these experiences, like we've talked about, are going to be more low wait to no wait, depending.
And in Disneyland, in California Adventure specifically, they have the Sorcerer's Workshop. So you can go and you can do a little bit of like animation and things like that in there, and experience some of those activities. Usually don't have very much of a wait. If all of the like stations are filled, you might have to wait for a minute or two, but it looks like, you know, the Beast Castle inside, and it's a really fun place to go. And they do have animation academies in that same building that you do sometimes have to wait till the next session. So, and same with Turtle Talk with Crush. Usually those are lower weights. At least it's in the air conditioning where you can just kind of park it and not have to be out in the heat and the crowds. But
very true. Very true. So if you missed any of this evening's episode and any of our list of our no wait activities, this episode will be podcasted and posted on our YouTube. You can find links to those in our bios, but basically if you just head over to Mom Street USA, you're on pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, and on YouTube, you are going to be able to find us there. We also, if you don't know, have merch available on Kate's website. So if you're looking for your very own Mom Street USA t-shirt, like Kate is so lovely in modeling this evening. We've got t-shirts, we've got cute little stickers. If you're running out of room on your water bottle, Kate ordered the best little stickers that are the Mom Street logo that are just...
I have the regular one that are holograms.
Yes, we have a couple of those left, and then we've also got little mini stickers that are like perfect size if you have just a little space on your water bottle that you want to fill. They are just like the perfect little size for that. So you can order those on Kate's website as well. Again, all of those links can be found in our bio.
Yeah. So, thank you, everybody, for joining us for this week's episode of Mom Street USA. This has been a really fun time to talk with you guys about no-wait activities, which I think is really helpful as it gets really crowded in the parks pretty often these days.
And I will catch you all later.
Bye, Jackie. It's good
Bye.
to see
Have
you.
a great night.
Bye.